Heartwarming moment. Single mom discovers amazing support as CEO covers $50 formula with kindness. Maria's heart raced as she lifted her waitress apron, wiping sweat from her brow. Today was different. Today would change everything. Her spirited 10-year-old daughter, Lily, had come home bursting with excitement about a science kit she had seen at school. "Mom, it's only $50. Lily had said, her eyes sparkling with ambition. But $50 felt like a mountain to Maria. Each day spent hustling between the diner and the community center was a tightrope walk over a sea of bills and anxiety. She wanted to push that weight off their backs and lift her daughter up toward her dreams. As whispers of an upcoming innovation fair swept through Jasper, Maria caught wind of its significance. Tom, the local tech CEO with a heart for philanthropy, was hosting this fair. He grew up right down the street, just like her. Determination took charge as she thought of the influence he could wield over her daughter's dreams. With a heart full of courage and nerves dancing in her stomach, Maria resolved to take Lily to that fair. If that $50 science kit was a ticket to Lily's potential, then they were going to fight for it together. The fair loomed large in Maria's mind, a beacon of hope amidst swirling doubts. As they stepped into the bustling hall, the scent of coffee mingled with the buzz of innovation. Families mingled, dressed in their Sunday best, while Maria and Lily stood out in their everyday clothes. They felt like mismatched puzzle pieces amidst a perfect picture. I skimmed over them, raising eyebrows in dismissal, ignoring the spark of creativity that shone from Lily's face. Amidst the suffocating judgment, Maria spotted Tom. She didn't want to miss this chance. "Lily," she whispered, "stay close." Tension coiling around her like a heavy, suffocating blanket, she approached Tom and poured out the truth of their lives, the struggle to make ends meet, the dreams Lily carried like a feather. But instead of encouragement, she saw disbelief wash over Tom's face. Just as disappointment threatened to darken the room, the atmosphere shifted. Tom approached after his keynote speech, a reflective look lighting up his features. "You know," he said softly, "I grew up like you, faced my own battles." Maria felt her chest tighten. Was the tide turning? He saw something in Lily. He saw potential jostling amid their struggles. Not just a science kit, but a partnership. "Let us create a community program," he said, hope threading through his voice like a new dawn. "One that inspires kids like Lily. A bridge across the educational gaps." Emotions swelled like waves crashing through fulfillment and fear. Could they do this? Would the community embrace the change? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Meanwhile, determination battled doubt as whispers of judgment surrounded them like a storm. Could this partnership shine bright enough to cut through the shadows? Maria locked eyes with her daughter, hope igniting within, yet fear still clung to her heart. Would this venture redirect their future or offer only more struggles? The answer hung heavy in the air, and Maria felt the question settle deep in her soul. Can kindness shape destiny, or would it falter beneath the weight of skepticism? Maria blinked, her heart pounding as Tom turned to face Lily. "What do you think, kiddo?" he asked, a smile breaking across his face. The air between them buzzed with uncertainty and hope, a delicate balance that could tip either way. Lily's eyes widened, an electric charge of excitement lighting her small features. I think it would be amazing. We could help other kids, too." Her voice rang out with clarity, each word wrapping around Maria's heart, pulling it tight with warmth. Maria couldn't help but smile, feeling a spark of belief igniting within her daughter. "Okay then," Tom nodded, "let us get the ball rolling. We can organize workshops, bring in speakers, and get everyone involved. It'll take some effort, but if we work together, we can do something great." He turned to Maria, sincerity radiating from his expression. Your story inspires me. Let us not just dream about change, let us create it. In that moment, as her heart swelled, Maria realized that this wasn't just about a science kit anymore. This was about creating pathways, about building bridges where none had existed. She felt the darkness that had loomed over her life begin to fade just a little. But questions still churned in her mind. Who would believe in them? Would the community actually rally together to support the program? That uncomfortable feeling of doubt whispered at the edges of her consciousness. It sounds wonderful, really, Maria finally murmured, but it's a big dream. What if no one shows up? Tom waved her concern away with a laugh. Change doesn't come easily, Maria. Those who change the world often start with little more than a whisper of hope. We'll take it step by step. As they began exchanging ideas, Maria noticed the subtle shift in her surroundings. It felt as if the weight of her fears started to lighten a little. Around them, other parents began to linger, curious glances directed their way. Perhaps they were starting to notice what was happening, a dynamic duo ready to face the tough terrain together. Lily chimed in, her voice like a bell. What if we get the kids to help spread the word? If everyone knows that we want to help kids learn and explore science, they'll want to join. Tom's eyes lit up. That's it. Kids are the best advocates. They have an innocence that can inspire. We can even involve schools, make it a competition, whoever brings in the most involvement wins. Maria felt a flicker of excitement bubbling up. Could they really involve the schools? The way Lily's ideas sparkled with possibility filled her with pride. It reignited hope that had dimmed so often in her life. Just as they were crafting detailed plans, a large group of local parents approached, intrigued by the passionate conversation. What's going on here? One of them asked, a hint of skepticism lacing her tone. Maria's heart sank. Time felt like it slowed as she realized this was the moment that could make or break everything. Tom stepped forward, confidence glowing from him like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. We're starting a community initiative focused on supporting children's creativity in science and technology. We want to involve everyone, parents, kids, schools. Together, we could change our town. A chorus of murmurs rippled through the crowd, surprise, intrigue, and a hint of skepticism. Another mother stepped forward. What do you need from us? Her tone softened, and Maria sensed the shift, the first seeds of connection. As they collectively began to talk, growing excitement feeding on shared visions, Maria felt the promise of possibility swirl around them like a gentle breeze. She looked at Lily, whose excitement blossomed, illuminating her face. Could this melting pot of ideas become a reality? Who would have thought, Maria whispered to herself as the discussions grew louder, that a simple conversation could ignite this. But the undercurrent of fear still sat heavy in her heart. Uncertainty lurked just beyond the horizon. Could they maintain this momentum? Would everyone stand beside them as they took their first steps into the unknown? As they moved into deeper discussions about logistics, Maria couldn't shake the thought, what if they reached for the stars and fell back to Earth? The urge to protect Lily surged, even as hope dared her to try. The stakes were rising, and she had to ask herself, were they truly ready to embrace this journey together, no matter the outcome? With hope still shimmering in her spirit, Maria braced herself for what lay ahead, knowing every adventure begins with a single step. What would this new partnership bring? Would the community unite, or would they face resistance as they carved a new path? The weight of these questions hung in the air, inviting uncertainty to dance along the edges of this bright new beginning. The conversation swirled around Maria, her ears buzzing with the enthusiasm of the crowd. Parents were exchanging ideas, nodding to one another, their expressions shifting from skepticism to interest. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. Tom, with that bright smile, seemed to be the heartbeat of the gathering, coaxing ideas from each person who engaged. Maybe we could host an event at the community center, suggested one father who had just joined the circle. A fun science fair where kids can showcase their projects. Yes. Lily bounced on her heels, her energy infectious. We could have prizes. Like a science kit for the winners. Great idea! Let us make it a yearly thing, a celebration of learning. Tom added, his enthusiasm only fueling the fire. Maria felt her heart flutter in her chest. This was bigger than she'd imagined. They weren't just talking about helping a few kids, they were building momentum. However, with each burst of excitement, the cautious shadow of doubt flickered in her mind. Could they sustain this energy? What if the town accepted the idea at first but didn't follow through? Maria glanced at Lily, who was chattering away with the other kids, now forming a sisterly bond over ideas. How could she not protect that blossoming spirit, the very essence of hope that fought so hard to survive within her? The discussions continued, each person contributing their thoughts. Maria realized that they were forming something real, a true community initiative. It was almost as if the dreams of all those parents of connection and belonging were intertwining to create something beautiful. Suddenly, the group settled into a quiet, focused energy. Maria felt the weight of everyone's eyes fall upon her as Tom said, "Maria, what's your vision? You've shared such powerful feelings. What would you want to see happen next?" Now all attention was on her, the core of her doubts flaring up like a firestorm of nerves. She took a deep breath, heart racing. This was her moment. I'd love to see kids inspired to explore and discover, free to ask questions and imagine beyond their reach. I want them to feel like science is part of their lives, just like art or sports. I want them to feel empowered. The words flowed out, raw and authentic. A soft murmur rippled through the crowd, and as she spoke, she noticed a few heads nodding, their eyes gleaming with understanding. Maria dared to dream, and it sparked something in them. A father spoke up, "We all want that for our kids. A little bit of inspiration can change everything." Her heart soared. Could they really connect on this level? "I'll organize a meeting with local schools," another mother suggested. "If we get them involved, we can tap into so many more kids." The ball was starting to roll, and Maria felt its weight shift toward hopefulness. But just then, a voice from the back interrupted, cutting through the excitement. "What's in it for us?" A man crossed his arms, his expression skeptical. Maria's heart sank again. To face this questioning mind meant facing the freight train of doubt barreling toward them. Would they be able to convince everyone this was worth their time and effort? Her stomach nodded. She looked at Tom, who returned her gaze, his focus steadying her. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, and with vulnerability she said, "It's about creating a future for our children, for all children. Imagine if all our kids felt this passion, this drive to learn. What could they achieve?" Silence enveloped the group momentarily, a mix of contemplation and reflection hanging in the air. It was a powerful pause. Maria could feel the tension shift, some parents whispering to each other before nodding. But would that be enough to overcome the doubt? Would they really take the leap? Her heart beat in her ears as she waited for the response. As the conversation started again, a soft voice piped up, "I'm in. Let's make this happen." One by one, others echoed their support, and like wildfire, excitement spread through the crowd again. But even amongst this swell of enthusiasm, the flicker of fear remained in Maria's chest. What challenges would come now that they were forging ahead? The air was ripe with hope, but uncertainty still lingered. Was this just the beginning, or were they setting themselves up for a hard fall? As the laughter and chatter continued to swirl around her, Maria knew the road ahead would be anything but smooth. And that uncertainty swirled as she pondered what would come next, what unforeseen obstacles would test their resolve as they dared to create change. The excitement buzzed in the air like electricity as the meeting began to wind down. Tom was smiling broadly, high-fiving kids, and congratulating parents. Maria felt a warm rush as the joy swelled within the group. They were united for something bigger than themselves, something meaningful. "Let us break into smaller groups," Tom suggested. "We can map out action plans, brainstorm ideas, and tackle how we can get the schools involved." Maria joined a circle of parents, each one eager to contribute. There was a mother with bright red hair and a passion for engineering, a father who loved tinkering with robots, and a teenager who had just participated in an impressive science fair. Each shared stories and ideas, igniting a fire within Maria. Maybe this was real. Maybe they could really transform their community. But as the discussion spiraled outward, Maria hesitated. Doubts, born from her own experiences, crept in. Would the schools see value in their efforts? Would they support this before flinging 1,000 more obstacles into their path? As her mind raced, she found herself staring at the red-haired mother, a tangible symbol of the passion flowing in the circle. What if we approach the schools with a clear outline? Something they can't ignore? Maria voiced, trying to rein in her own swirling doubts. The others nodded, some scribbling notes in excitement. Right. Maybe we draft a proposal that highlights how much students can benefit from a hands-on experience, the father chimed in. Yes. Maria felt a glimmer of hope. Yet fear loomed like a shadow. What if school boards shot them down? What if they wasted their time? She could see Lily laughing nearby, sharing jokes with other kids. No child should have to suffer from their parents' failure to inspire, she resolved fiercely. Days rolled by, and the initial spark of the meeting took on a life of its own. Maria found herself spiraling into planning sessions, meetings with local educators, and coffee chats with enthusiastic parents. They drafted proposals, held workshops, and created flyers. Each step infused her with a sense of purpose. Yet, with every small victory, the pit in her stomach returned, whispering fresh worries. Would they get enough kids involved? Would the local businesses step up to support them? The voices of doubt crowded around her late at night as she replayed every decision. One evening, her phone buzzed. It was Tom. Let us get together and do a ritual of hope. We could light candles and share our dreams for the fair. Encourage each other. Maria found herself smiling at the invitation. It sounded silly but grounding. The support around her felt like a warm blanket wrapped tight, comforting her fears. As they arrived for the candle-lighting gathering, she didn't expect the strong emotions that washed over her. With flickering flames illuminating their faces, Maria encouraged everyone to voice their hopes and concerns. Laughter intermingled with tears as each person shared their stories. The weight of community was palpable. Well, what if disaster strikes? Someone asked as the group quieted. This question felt heavy yet necessary. Maria looked at everyone gathered there, their faces now illuminated, their hopes tangible. What if it does? She replied, feeling the words rise like a tide. But here's the thing. If we don't try, we'll never know. We owe it to our kids because they're watching us. They'll learn how to face challenges by how we face ours. A ripple of nods spread across the circle. Confidence bubbled up. Yet, as the candles burned bright, Maria couldn't shake the gnawing fear. Would the fair actually happen? Would they truly inspire their children? As glimmers of hope danced flickering in the candlelight, she felt that the next challenge awaited, lurking just beyond the horizon. But what could it possibly be? Would they falter as they drew closer to their dreams? The weeks flew by, and the air buzzed with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. Maria and her team poured everything into their plans. They created colorful flyers, hosted fun bake sales, and even stood outside the local supermarket, handing out pamphlets to passers-by. Each small action felt monumental, a step closer to the fair that had begun as just a dream. But doubt lingered, like clouds shadowing a sunny day. One night, Maria lay awake, staring at the ceiling, her heart pounding with uncertainty. Was she asking too much of her community? Would this all fizzle out before it even began? A soft rustle in the corner pulled her from her thoughts. Lily stood at the doorway, her little silhouette framed by the outside light. Can't sleep? Maria asked, heart softening at the sight of her daughter. Lily shuffled closer, plopping down on the edge of the bed. What if nobody comes to the fair? She whispered, staring at her mom with big, worried eyes. Maria's heart twisted. That's a possibility, sweetheart. But you know what? Even if only one person comes, that's still something. We're doing this because it matters. To us, to everyone. Lily considered her mother's words, her brow furrowing with concentration. Then she nodded slowly. Okay, it's still worth trying, right? Maria pulled her daughter close, feeling the warmth of their bond wrap around her. Yes. Always. The next day, Vibrant posters adorned the walls of the community center, several businesses eagerly displayed flyers in their windows, and social media buzzed with excitement about the upcoming fair. Maria felt a swell of gratitude, but with it came a nagging question: too much optimism, perhaps? The night before the fair, the community center was alive with energy. As Maria helped set up, volunteers hustled, carrying boxes of supplies and stringing colorful lights. Yet her stomach churned with nerves. What if it all falls apart? She murmured, more to herself than anyone else. Tom caught her eye, sensing her worry. You've done an amazing job, Maria. Whatever happens tomorrow, you've inspired this community. Just look around. Everyone's here because they believe in this. I just hope the kids enjoy it, she replied, biting her lip. The weight of responsibility pressed on her. The next morning, a cool breeze danced outside as families began to arrive. Maria stood near the entrance, her heart racing as she greeted people. A wave of children rushed past her, squealing with laughter, and for a moment, her worries melted away. Mom! Look at this! Lily ran over, holding a small plant she'd created during a workshop. Her face glowed with pride, and in that instant, Maria saw it all: the joy, the engagement, the connection. As the hours rolled by, booths buzzed with activity. Kids painted, built structures, and shared ideas. Laughter echoed through the air, intertwining with the scents of popcorn and cotton candy. Maria joined a group, demonstrating how to engineer a simple robot. It felt good, it felt right. Yet, a cautious voice still nagged in her mind. That evening, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, the fair taken shape before her eyes, people chatting, smiles spreading. But just as hope soared, disaster struck. A loud crash echoed near the robotics booth. Maria turned sharply to see several balloons from a display had burst, sending a gust of panic through the crowd. Mom! Lily cried, grabbing her hand with urgency. Maria couldn't decide. Should she rush to help the kids or reassure Lily? In that moment, would everything they worked for unravel in the chaos? The moment hung heavy in the air, and as she looked at the thrill and concern in her daughter's eyes, she felt the challenge before her pulsating intensely. How could she turn this potential disaster into a moment of empowerment for everyone? Would they rise to meet this unexpected twist? Maria hesitated for a heartbeat, her mind racing through possibilities. The joyous atmosphere had quickly shifted to an undercurrent of fear. Children cried, parents rushed to comfort them, and a sense of chaos loomed like a storm cloud threatening their celebration. But amidst this turbulence, Maria felt a spark ignite in her. Okay, everyone. Listen up! She called out, raising her voice above the noise. The crowd paused, uncertainty etching their faces. I need your help. Slowly, a few faces turned her way, curiosity piqued. We've got an opportunity here to show just how resilient we can be. Let us turn this around together. Each of you is a part of this fair, and we're not going to let a few popped balloons ruin our fun. Lily's grip tightened on her mother's hand, her wide eyes searching Maria's face for reassurance. Maria knelt to her level, brushing a curl from Lily's brow. Can you help me? Let us get everyone together, and create something new out of this mess. With her daughter's nod, Maria stood, her heart beating rapidly. As she directed children to gather the remnants of balloons, she felt energy shift. Parents started chatting again, support threading through the crowd as they rolled up their sleeves. Let us make a balloon sculpture. Someone yelled from the back. No better way to show off our teamwork. Yeah. Another child chimed in. It'll be the coolest thing ever. Maria felt a wave of relief wash over her. With every suggestion and every pair of hands adding to the effort, the chaos was forgotten. They worked, laughter replacing fear, enthusiasm lighting up the evening. Look, Mom! We can make a dragon! Lily exclaimed, picking up several colorful scraps. Absolutely. But we need some wings. Who has some ideas? Maria encouraged, feeling the community's spirit rise. Kids began sketching as parents helped them, the noise transforming from panic to invention. Amidst the chaos, Tom appeared by Maria's side, a proud smile shining through the dusk. This is incredible. You've turned a disaster into art. Look at how everyone is coming together, he said, his voice warm with admiration. Maria beamed, a mixture of pride and disbelief swelling in her chest. I didn't do this alone. They're the heart of the fair, she admitted, nodding toward the children immersed in laughter and bright colors, creating something beautiful. As twilight descended, the fair continued to buzz with creativity. The once burst balloons were now part of an elaborate dragon towering proudly over the robotics booth, twinkling lights reflecting off its makeshift scales. The moment was magical. Maria could see it in the kids' faces. They had taken control of the situation, and it blossomed into something unforgettable. Mom! Lily tugged at her hand, her face alight. We really did turn it around. Yes, we did, Maria whispered, her heart full. She couldn't help but feel pride swell within her. The fair embodied what they set out to achieve: a connection, a sense of belonging, a joyous community. But just as she allowed herself to bask in the success, the ground trembled slightly, and a harsh noise echoed from behind the booth, a sound that sent chills racing down her spine. What was that? Lily asked, a glimmer of fear flickering back in her wide eyes. Maria's heart dropped as she turned toward the noise. Was this another disaster waiting to unfold? What could possibly challenge their fair now? The noise reverberated through the air like thunder, shattering the moment of joy they had all worked so hard to build. Parents instinctively pulled their children closer, their faces turning pale with concern. Maria's heart raced as her eyes darted toward the source of the sound. Stay close to me, Lily, she whispered urgently, crouching protectively beside her daughter. Lily nodded, her tiny hands gripping Maria's arm. What was it? Mom, I'm scared. Before Maria could respond, a figure came rushing from behind the booth. It was Ben, the fair's coordinator, a look of wide-eyed panic etched on his face. Everyone, please remain calm, he shouted, his voice trembling slightly. We're just experiencing a minor issue with the power supply. It'll be sorted out in no time. Maria swallowed hard, her mind racing. A power issue? It could mean a complete blackout of music, lights, everything they had worked on for the fair. The thought of their beautiful dragon dimmed and lifeless, coupled with the tension in the air, made her stomach churn. Let us keep fostering this positive energy, Ben continued, his words clashing with the tense silence that had momentarily consumed the crowd. Why don't we huddle around the dragon? We can tell stories about it, keep the spirit alive. Maria could see the crowd slowly shifting, people starting to gather around as Ben directed them. Encouraged by his confident tone, she rose to her feet, pulling Lily with her. Come on, sweetheart. Let us show them what we can do. They stepped forward, Maria smiling despite her worries. All right. Let us each share a fun fact or a story while we wait. Who wants to start? Somebody stepped up, a brave little boy with messy chocolate-covered fingers, and shouted, I can be a knight who will ride the dragon. Laughter rippled through the crowd as he swung his arm like a sword, his energy contagious. Great idea! And I'll be the dragon! Lily squealed, her fear melting away. She stretched her arms wide, pretending to flap wings as she danced around the makeshift sculpture. Laughter erupted among the group, filling the space with warmth. With each passing moment, the crowd began to relax, engaging in playful stories, and the shadows of their earlier fears lifted. Maria felt a spark of hope. Back in my hometown, dragons aren't just creatures. They're guardians of the sky. A little girl called out, her brown eyes sparkling as she clutched a crumpled piece of balloon. Maria glanced at Tom, who stood nearby watching the magic unfold. He caught her eye and smiled, his expression fierce with pride for the resilience they were all showing. It felt good to know that they could rise together in the face of uncertainty. Just then, another tremble reverberated through the ground, stronger this time. Panic flickered back in the eyes of the parents around her, but Maria refused to let fear take hold again. She stepped to the front, raising her voice. We've come together through tougher moments tonight. We can do this. Her heart thudded, adrenaline coursing through her veins. But before anyone could respond, a distinct sound came from the shadows behind the booth, like someone calling out. Help! I need some help over here. Maria's heart sank. The mystery of the uprooting power outage was becoming a nightmare, but just as concerns started to weigh her down, she felt a surge of defiance. Let us check it out, she said, clenching her fists. Lily looked up at her, uncertainty painted across her face. But what if it's something bad, Mom? Maria knelt down, pouring all her resolve into her words. Whatever it is, we'll face it. Together. As she turned toward the shadows and stepped forward, a sudden gust of wind rustled through the fairgrounds. Maria felt a knot tighten in her stomach what awaited them in the darkness. A hesitant bravado danced in her chest as the situation pushed against every ounce of her courage. What if this was more than just a minor setback? What if it changed everything? As Maria stepped into the shadows, the air felt thick, heavy with uncertainty. She squinted into the dark, the outlines of the booths fading into indistinct shapes. She held her breath, straining to hear another call for help. It sent chills down her spine. Stay close to me, Lily, she repeated, feeling the small hand squeeze hers tighter. She could feel her daughter's heart racing in sync with her own. They moved forward cautiously, the crowd's murmur fading behind them. The fair, which had moments ago burst with laughter and excitement, now felt eerily quiet, like the calm before a storm. Maria's pulse quickened as she caught a glimpse of movement, a figure partly obscured by stacks of boxes. Is someone there? Maria called out, her voice strong despite the tremor that quivered beneath it. Please, I need help. The voice was strained, urgent. With every step, the reality of the situation sank in deeper. The imagined scenarios played out in her mind: injuries, loss, despair. Finally, she stepped into the light spilling from an overhead lamp. There, tangled in a pile of decorations, was a young volunteer, struggling to free herself. Emily, with her bright smile and indomitable spirit, was now a picture of distress. Oh no, Emily! Maria rushed forward, kneeling beside the girl. What happened? I was trying to get the last of the decorations from the storage area, Emily gasped, pulling her long hair away from her face. But the boxes fell over, and I didn't think it would be this heavy. Don't worry, we'll get you out, Maria assured her, feeling the surge of adrenaline sharpen her focus. She began helping to lift the boxes, glancing back at Lily. Can you help too, sweetheart? We need your strong little arms. Lily nodded and rushed to the other side, her initial hesitation forgotten. Together, they lifted the box, and after a few tense moments, Emily was finally free. She gasped, brushing off dust and bits of paper, a look of relief washing over her. Thank you, Emily exclaimed, her cheeks flushed with gratitude. I thought I was stuck forever. As laughter bubbled up from surrounding bystanders who had gathered, the tension in the air began to dissipate. The shadows retreated, and with them, Maria's fears. It was as if the community around them had strengthened with each act of assistance. See? Maria said, leaning closer to Lily. That's what we do together. We help each other. The words rang true, filling her with warmth. Just then, the power surged back into life with a flicker, brightening the fairgrounds in blinding brilliance. Colorful lights twinkled, casting vibrant reflections on the crowd's hopeful faces. Cheers erupted, overwhelming the previous echo of uncertainty. The dragon, illuminated anew, loomed proudly above them. Maria looked around, feeling buoyed by this shared victory, the tension now transformed into a celebration of resilience and unity. We're all dragons tonight, she shouted, the essence of their spirits soaring in the bright glow. But just as the revelry began to swell, the ground trembled again, more forcefully this time. Gasps filled the air, and imagery of imminent disaster flickered in Maria's mind once more. What now? What more could they endure? With her heart pounding, she tightened her grip on Lily's hand. Stay with me, she instructed, steeling herself for whatever came next. There was no room for fear, only bravery and heart. As the crowd's jubilation faltered, one question hung heavy in the air: what else lay hidden in the shadows of this night? Maria's heart raced, her instincts screaming for her to protect Lily. She felt the ground beneath them shift, like the very heart of the fairgrounds was trembling. The cheers that filled the air quivered into silence as a collective realization sank in something was wrong. "Everyone stay calm," a voice boomed over a loudspeaker, cutting through the mounting tension. It was Mr. Rodriguez, the fair organizer. "We have experienced a minor tremor. Please remain in your places and wait for instructions." Maria squinted toward the stage where Mr. Rodriguez stood. His face betrayed a flicker of concern, but he managed to maintain a reassuring presence. It eased her slightly. It was tough not to trust someone who had coordinated so many joyous events in their town. But then, another tremor rattled the ground, this one more pronounced, sending a wave of fear rippling through the crowd. Screams erupted, and Maria felt Lily's hand turn cold in hers. "We need to get somewhere safe," she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "But what about Emily and the others?" Lily's eyes were wide, searching. "Stay close," Maria insisted, scanning the area as people began to scatter, their joy turning quickly to chaos. With firm resolve, she pulled Lily toward the edge of the crowd. Her thoughts raced as she looked for familiar faces, friends who might also be seeking shelter. Suddenly, someone bumped into her, sending her stumbling. She regained her footing, spinning to see a worried Janet, her neighbor. "I can't find my son!" Janet cried, her voice cracking with desperation. Maria's heart ached. "Let us find him together." They moved as one, weaving through the throng of frightened fairgoers. "Daniel!" Janet's voice rang out, urgency sharpening it. Every second of uncertainty felt like an eternity. Maria kept her eyes peeled, the stimulation of the lights around them now mocking their plight. And then she saw him, little Daniel, clinging to a stack of boxes, his face twisted in confusion. "Mom!" he wailed, rushing into Janet's waiting arms. Relief flooded over them. The moment washed away a piece of the fear gripping Maria's heart. But the ground shook again, more violently now. People began to panic, and Maria felt Lily tugging at her hand. "Mom, please!" "Okay. Let us move." They veered from the commotion, opting for one of the less crowded exits. The bright lights dimmed in her vision as adrenaline surged through her, pushing her to protect Lily at all costs. As they stepped outside the fairgrounds, the cool night air hit them like a wave, refreshing yet sobering. But the night was far from over. A sense of urgency still thrummed within the crowd, now gathered in clusters, anxious whispers filling the space where laughter once thrived. How could this happen? Maria uttered, frustration mingling with confusion. Each tremor felt like an uninvited guest at their celebration. The night had started so merrily, now it was swathed in fear. Then, through the crowd, she spotted someone run past Emily, her eyes wide with panic but determined. "We need to check the perimeter," she shouted, rallying some other volunteers. With one quick glance back at Lily, Maria knew she had to trust the community. This was not the time to be alone, they were in this together. They followed Emily, courage finding roots in their shared fear. "Stick together!" Emily yelled, her voice piercing through the unease. Glimmers of hope sparked in Maria. Maybe in the chaos, they could find strength. Maybe they could be each other's dragons once more. But as they raced into the darkness, their steps quickening, doubt lingered in the air thick as fog. What lay waiting for them beyond this sudden tempest of uncertainty? Would they find answers or confront greater shadows lurking ahead? As the group scurried through the chaotic fairgrounds, Maria couldn't shake the feeling of foreboding that swirled around them. Her heart thudded in her chest as they followed Emily, their footsteps echoing against the frightened whispers of those who had fled from the trembling ground. The glimmer of hope that had surged just hours before now felt like a fragile candle flickering against an approaching storm. "Where do we go?" Lily's voice wavered, laced with anxiety. Maria knelt, bringing her eyes level with her daughter's. "We'll find safety, sweetheart. Together, just like we've always done." "We should head to the school," Emily declared, voice fierce. "It's a sturdy building, and it has space." Tom, who joined them, nodded. "Good idea. It's right down the street. Let us move." As they made their way to the school, Maria led the charge, feeling the weight of her daughter's small hand clasped tightly in hers. She glanced back at the trembling crowd to see other parents joining them, determined to guide their kids to safety. The unity felt electric, igniting a hope that sent shivers down her spine. Once they reached the school, Maria was struck by the sight of it. The bright facade loomed before them, a stark contrast to the chaos of the fair. Families clustered outside, murmuring among themselves grief, confusion, but also she dared to hope resolve. A wave of camaraderie surged as people joined together, sheltering one another from the cold grip of fear. Everyone, head inside. Ben's voice boomed, breaking through the din. Let us get organized, parents, help with the kids. We need to make sure everyone is accounted for. Without hesitation, Maria guided Lily through the doors. The interior felt safe, a haven amidst the uncertainty. She noticed a familiar group of parents gathered in the corner, assessing the situation. Relief washed over her. Maria! Thank goodness you're here! Shouted Sheila, her neighbor. We were worried about you and Lily when we felt that last tremor. Emotions erupted, a mix of sympathy and camaraderie blanketing them all. We're okay, Maria reassured. Just trying to keep the kids safe. As the minutes passed, parents exchanged stories, sharing fears and reliefs. The room buzzed yet strained with a palpable tension that echoed the uncertainty outside. But Maria felt a flicker of something strong within her. We can't let fear destroy the spirit we built together today, she said, her voice steady. Remember the dragon? We came back stronger and created something beautiful from chaos. Now we do it again. One by one, nods of understanding cascaded back to her, hearts lifting, spirits igniting. Let us occupy the kids, Tom suggested. How about we organize art stations where they can draw and create? It'll help channel their energy and keep them calm. Yes! Lily exclaimed, her little face brightening at the thought. We can make even more dragons. Exactly! Emily grinned, sparking renewed enthusiasm in the group. In moments, makeshift art stations developed, children diving into creativity. Pastels and paper scattered around, laughter intermingling with palpable anxiety lessening its grip. Maria stepped back to observe. Every paper creation, every joyful giggle, reshaped the room. Hope began to flourish again, today's obstacles transformed into the stories of resilience shared amongst them. But the vibration of fear still loomed. Noticing a few parents segregated into worry clusters, Maria approached them. We need to keep our spirits up. We can't succumb to darkness. It's okay to feel afraid, but we need each other now more than ever. One dad spoke up, his voice trembling, but what if the next tremor is worse? Then we face it together, she replied, her voice unwavering. That's the magic of community. A flicker of understanding sparked in their eyes, and slowly others began to join them. Let us share stories. About overcoming fears. About what our kids can do. And so they did. Each word that emerged brightened the atmosphere within those walls, weaving kindred spirits closer together, the shadows lurking outside battling against the bonds forming inside. As the hours passed, a familiar sound broke through the air. It was laughter, mingled harmoniously with the hum of kids creating dragons and other masterpieces. Those simple sketches resonated deeply. They embodied not just dreams but also the resilience woven through their stories. Then, just as the sun dipped low, casting an orange hue through the schoolhouse windows, the tremors ceased. A hush washed over the group, momentary and perfect. It was as if the world outside took a breath, holding space for hope. Look at what we've built! Maria exclaimed, her heart bursting. We're going to make it through this, stronger together than we ever could have imagined. Cheers erupted amongst their assembled group, joy sparking as they united for a common purpose, fending off the dark shadows together. The fear of the unknown faded slightly as they embraced the creed Maria had given voice to, binding them for once again, community and resilience. In that moment, she knew they could breathe life into change. Tomorrow would come, but today, they had faced the storm together. From shadows to light, Maria felt hope filling her heart, and for the first time throughout a day full of twists, she could smile believing these bonds would lead them forward into something beautiful. This was just the beginning of their journey. And to every viewer out there, don't let your hopes flicker. You need to subscribe now, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. This is the moment to show your support by hitting that like button now and giving the algorithm a boost. Please comment how this transformation impacted your heart. And for those who need an uplifting tale, don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends. Together, we create a brighter future.